happily. Finding happily. Finding happily.
Welcome back to Finding Happily, where we expose the myths and fairy tales surrounding dating and relationships. In our last episode, we talked about the differences between men and women and our ongoing quest for perfection. We're going to focus on the differences between a good relationship and a bad relationship, and how to tell which one you're in. We asked two individuals to give us their description. Here's what they had to say.
How do you know when it's time to end a relationship?
When I have to compromise my values, my beliefs, my morals.
Frankly, I don't know.
When I don't care about their problems, when I don't care about their situations.
Because every relationship is different and a different set of circumstances.
When I don't want to kiss that person, when I don't want to hold their hand, when I don't want to rub their feet, that's a big sign for me.
However, I'm prepared to share some philosophical insights as to why relationships don't last.
Our two guests today are Phil and Dennis. Let's start with you, Dennis.
Okay.
When I asked how you knew when it was time to end a relationship, you responded, when the physical attraction is lost and when you just don't care.
Yes.
So what did you mean when you said when you just don't care?
When I don't care about their job, when I don't care about what they're doing, when I don't care about anything, their problems, their situations, that's when I know it's going to an end.
And Phil, when we asked you, you decided to wait until you got to our panel to answer that question. Tell us a little bit about that.
I recently, went back and read some information from a great German philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer. He made a very groundbreaking thesis on the will to reproduce. And I think a lot of people's problems emanate from what he said.
But what about you, Phil? That was a complete deflection of a question that was directed to you. So, have you been in a relationship that you maybe recognized needed to end, but didn't end it right then? What's been your experience with ending a relationship?
Well, that's a good question, Doctor. I've never really ended relationships. I lived with a woman who was 17 years older than myself for almost 30 years, but we never had any problems.
I find that hard to believe that you didn't have any major problems and yet you still don't live with each other.
Well, it's true, because we kind of saw the world the same way. And I think that's very important in relationships, that people see the world the same way pretty much.
So this woman who you got along with great, and everything was beautiful and wonderful, she got up and picked up and left you to go live with somebody else.
No, she didn't leave to go live with somebody else. She went to leave and live with her daughter and her son-in-law.
Dennis.
I think, so it sounds like, Dennis, you have had the experience of being in a relationship that was maybe ready to end before you actually ended it. And you mentioned not caring anymore. And I think that's one of the biggest markers of a relationship needing to end.
Yes. I think, the opening with Collette was very good, because it's a fear of being alone. For me, I want to live the rest of my life with a woman. I want to share everything with her. There's a fear of what other people will think. There's insecurities. Why didn't this work? As a man, why couldn't I make this work? As a man.
You take responsibility for
Absolutely.
Even though there's two of you involved.
Absolutely. And then afterwards, I'm still taking responsibility. Why didn't this work? Is this my fault? And as a man, I feel like, it was my fault, that this didn't work.
because it's a man's job to make a relationship work?
I believe it's both parties. It's definitely both parties, and there's give and take, you know. But me as a man, you know, I feel like there's more responsibility. I do feel that way.
That is definitely the happily ever after facade, that you have to be the knight in shining armor to protect, to provide for this woman, and then you begin to compromise who you are. Well, now that we've heard from our inside paneling guest, let's take it to the streets to Ian Hutton, another of our relationship specialists.
Thanks a lot, Collette. Ian Hutton here out in beautiful Hollywood, California, where people from all over the world come in to be movie stars, directors, writers, musicians, or just to sit on the beach and get a tan. Now, I've been listening to all those responses. Now, in my opinion, it's time to end the relationship when there's no more trust. When you can't trust the person, when they leave and you're wondering where they went, it's time to end it. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear what everybody on the street thinks.
On our next episode,
So what Danny is saying is that it's just instinct.
There's an instinct, but there's also clues also.
For a woman to choose to live with her daughter, that relationship did in fact
Well,
end.
I appreciate what you're saying, however erroneous you are.
It's hard for me to distinguish lust and love.
wait, what brought that on?